Hi. Oops, sorry. Hello, class. It's time for our read aloud, and since it's Earth Day, I'm going to read Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. This is the Lorax. He is a character. He is made up by Dr. Seuss, and let's find out about the Lorax. The Lorax. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could, before someone lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Munstler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks. And sometimes he tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a snail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. If I stop to summarize, the Onceler lives in the top of this building, and if you pay him something, he will tell you the story of the Lorax. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count, to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Now he's going to tell us the tale of how the Lorax got lifted away. Slup. Down slups the whisper-ma-phone to your ear. The old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It's all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami Swams rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. He says tufts, and he says they're colorful. Which part of the tree is the tuft? He also said Swami Swams. Can you see them? And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. What does this place look like? Give me some adjectives. Words to describe. What does it look like? Is it ugly? Is it pretty? Is it colorful? Is it nice? Is it beautiful? But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tusks was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly's milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. Looks like he has a plan, says the Oncelers. In no time at all I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and a great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. That is a thneed. He made that out of the tuft of the truffula tree, and it looks like clothing. Then the instant I had finished, I heard a gazump, and I looked, and I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree that I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Sharpish and brownish. Purple group. These words both have ish at the end of them, just like when we were learning about today in reading. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Is he happy, the Lorax? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I've chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed, and a thneed is something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Oh yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor silly guy. You can never tell what some people will buy. That's true. People do buy all kinds of things. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone, and I put a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts. That's my phone ringing. I called all my uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weechaken, sharp right at South Stitch. So, he has just called all of his family to come. I think they're going to make more thneeds. I'm going to stop this recording here, and I'm going to continue this recording tomorrow. Let's see what happens with the Lorax tomorrow.